Morning, Peter.
Morning, Tom.
Have you ever been prescribed Suboxone?
I have.
What was your experience like?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't really know what it was. I just know that a lot of other people were getting on it too. And, it got me off the street for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't work for me anymore, and I started going back to using drugs.
How did it stop working? What was the...
Well, I began selling it, and I would take less and get high later when I found out I could do that.
Why would you take less?
Because you can still get high even though you've consumed some Suboxone during the day.
So you would take a little bit of Suboxone so you wouldn't feel sick in the morning?
Right.
And then use heroin at night?
Right.
Okay. Did you ever trade it for other drugs?
I have.
When doctors prescribed you Suboxone, did they ever prescribe other medications in combination with the Suboxone?
Yep. I was also prescribed a various amount of medications. I got gabapentin, I've gotten Xanax, Klonopins, Adderall, all while under the influence of Suboxone.
Have you ever been to a cash doctor or heard of a cash doctor?
I have.
What was your experience like there?
Well, I would use the money that I knew I was going to be getting from the sale of my Suboxones to pay that cash doctor to get the Suboxones in the first place. So I would, because when they go for $10, $15 a piece and the copay is $200, you can do the math, I would only have to sell 20 of them to get, and then I'd have 70 left over.
Okay. What'd you do with those?
I would sell those too, most of them, maybe keep 5 or 6 just in case I couldn't score drugs that day. I could have some to go to the withdrawals with.
So you'd hold a couple back for yourself?
Yep.
Okay. Have you ever tried to apply to get into a sober house?
I have.
On Suboxone?
I have.
What was the experience?
It varies. Different places won't allow you to be on Suboxone. Some will. Methadone, same thing. And I don't know, a lot of people in the sober community don't look at it as being sober. So some places don't condone it, but other places, as long as you're paying the rent, they don't care.
Have you ever had experience where you were working with a doctor and you called the doctor up and said, I've taken too much, or I'm out, I need help?
Yeah, if I've lied and said that that I've gotten them stolen. I said I left my car unlocked and that they were stolen. I've said that I misplaced them, or that it just wasn't covering it. It wasn't working. I needed more. And
What was typically the response medically?
it seemed like that they were that they were saying that, oh, well, just come in, and they'd give me like the little talk, but it was mostly just, yeah, go ahead, don't do it again.
Okay.
Until I did it again.
And then what happened?
And then nothing. They would maybe monitor me, come in, tell me to come in like a little bit closer. They'd say come in once a week instead of once every 2 weeks. Or something.
And while you were engaging in that behavior, were you still selling the Suboxone and getting high on top of them? And
I haven't I'd say I've been on and off Suboxone since 2011, and I don't think I've once took them how I was supposed to take them.
have you ever seen anyone or known of anyone that's been successful on over longitudinally Suboxone?
With completely not altering their subscription? No. I've never met anybody that never would not sell one of them out of their bottle, or that took them exact dose, exactly they were supposed to, on time, every day. No. Whether they took their whole dose first thing in the morning and didn't spread it out, but no, I've never met anybody, and I've known a lot of people on Suboxone.
Okay. Have you ever been on Suboxone?
Yes.
What was your experience?
My experience with Suboxone was that in the beginning, it did seem to help as far as that I was clean from hard drugs. I wasn't drinking, but I found that over time, the addictive components for Suboxone for me was I started behaving more like hoarding my script, or taking too many, or selling them, buying them, the same type of behaviors that I was doing when I was using Suboxone. So.
Did you ever use any other type of drug in combination with Suboxone?
I was on Klonopin as well, which is a benzo, and Vyvanse, which is an amphetamine. So I was on a little cocktail of pills with the Suboxone, which at the time I felt like I was clean, but looking back, I don't feel that I was entirely clean.
Was there ever a period of time when you missed a prescription dose?
Yeah.
And what happened?
There was a time period where I missed, I had sold some of them, and I thought I was going to be able to get more, and I couldn't, and I was out for, I think, six days, almost a week, yeah.
What did you do?
I was sick. I was really sick. I had to call out to work. I didn't go to work. I was living with my mom at the time, and I was ashamed to tell her that I was going through withdrawal because she was so proud of me for being clean. So I just suffered through it. I was sick, I was throwing up, I had the sweats, I couldn't leave my bed type of thing,
So your detox from Suboxone was pretty rough?
Yeah, my detox from Suboxone was very rough. I also detoxed when I came in here from Suboxone, and that was hard. Yeah, it was hard.
Was there ever a period of time when you traded it for something else?
Oh yeah, I would trade it for benzos. Yeah.
So you were taking the benzos on top of the Klonopin that you already prescribed. If Suboxone was introduced into the jail, do you think inmates would be try to subvert it, try to pass it on to the inmates? Do you think inmates would be bullied, intimidated?
Yes, I think absolutely, because there's already such a the way the jail's set up now, it's such a strict no tolerance policy that there's no way to get anything in here. And I think just the thought of being able to get something like that in here would definitely trigger some people probably into either bullying other inmates or trying to bribe them with canteen and things of that nature. Okay.
And you had an episode, I think, in your life when you were finally arrested.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Part of me was really upset that I had to be away from, my family, my children. But the other part of me was, I guess, relieved in a way that I knew I was going to get clean and I was going to have to get clean. So.
And if Suboxone was in the jail, would you still be able to get clean?
I don't think so 100%, because I still think when I got out, I would be seeing a Suboxone doctor. I'd be trying to figure out how to get benzos on top of it so I could get that little nod feeling. I don't think I'd be entirely clean now.
So your sobriety occurred when you came to jail?
Yeah. Until I came here, I didn't really know what sober felt like. This is 100% sober.
How do you feel?
I feel good now, yeah. I'm going to a program soon, and I feel good. I feel ready, so.
And if you were on Suboxone, do you think you'd feel the same way? Or?
I don't think I would be as motivated as I am now.
And you realize that if you were on Suboxone, the detox would eventually be coming.
Right, and I would know that in the back of my head that I'm going to have to detox, I'm going to have to go through all the shaking, the sweats, throwing up, all that. And coming in here, yes, I had to go through it, but I'm done with it now. I'm on the other side, and I feel better, and I'm ready to go to a program.
Have you ever been prescribed Suboxone?
Yeah.
What was your experience?
I abused it probably about 90% of the time I was using it.
How did you abuse it?
IV, and I snorted it.
Okay. What do you think of the concept of having Suboxone in a jail? What do you think that would be like?
I don't think it'd be a great idea, to be honest. I think it'd be abused in any fashion.
Have you ever seen Suboxone in jail before?
No.
Have you ever seen it
illegally? Not legally in jail.
What was your experience like with illegal Suboxone in jails?
I mean, everyone who had it illegally was abusing it, and that was pretty much it. It wasn't a positive one, and it made things harder in almost every aspect.
Could certain inmates make money?
Yeah.
Selling? How would they do that? How would they go about doing that?
If you're getting it illegally, then if you're getting the whole thing, the whole strip, you could break it down and sell it for maybe $10 to $15, a small square.
How much would a strip go for?
Anywhere from $100 to $150.
How would they actually earn the money from doing that? How would
They'd cut it up and sell it for either Western Unions or Stamps, food, whatever, and then turn around and sell the food for Western Unions.
You've been on Suboxone. Has the doctor ever cut you off?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was on it bi-weekly. I had to show up to an appointment, and they would give me a 7-day script to the next week. Mm-hmm. I was abusing it to the point where I didn't care to make it to the next meeting because the way I was abusing it, I didn't need 7. I only needed 1 to last a week. But they banned me from their Suboxone program for life.
If you were leaving jail and you had no money, no place to live, and you walked out with a 2-week supply of Suboxone, what would you do with that?
I'd sell it.
You'd sell it?
Absolutely.
Justin, have you ever applied to get into a sober house or a halfway house on Suboxone? And if so, what happened?
I have tried to get it on Suboxone while I was at a sober house, and it's not allowed at the one I was at for the most part. And from what I understand, I don't know a sober house on Cape that allows Suboxone or Methadone.
So even though you're trying to get yourself into a sober environment, if you left jail and we were trying to place you in a sober house, those sober houses couldn't take you?
No.
What was your experience like?
I think it was just a short-term fix
What do you mean?
for me. Like, it didn't like with the Vivitrol. I have like a long-term. I can't fight with my brain over it. I don't. The Suboxone, there was loopholes,
What's a loophole?
ways to get around it to get high.
Did you ever maybe take half a dose instead of a full dose so you could get high later
Yes.
on heroin or something of that nature?
Yes.
What about other drugs? Did you ever take in combination with Suboxone?
Yes.
What would you take?
Benzos,
Okay,
Adderall, whatever. You know, it doesn't block everything.
sure.
So,
How about alcohol?
yes.
Cocaine?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever experience a detox from Suboxone?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced a detox from straight heroin?
Yes.
Which was worse?
Suboxone.
How did it make you feel?
Like I was about to die.
Have you ever seen a cash doctor, a doctor that might take
Yes.
your mass health and cash at the same time?
Yes.
What was your experience like there?
You could do whatever you wanted. Didn't matter if you failed or passed any kind of street drugs. As long as you came with the money, he wrote the scripts.
Just anything you wanted?
Anything, and how much of it you wanted.
So if you were on, let's say, 2.5 of Xanax or something like that, could you walk in and say, I want 5 instead?
Yep.
And if you wanted 3 strips a day of the Suboxone, would you write that too?
Yep.
How much do you think you needed in a day?
1,
And
if that.
what would you do with the extra?
Sell them.
So
Trade 'em.
Or trade them for other drugs?
Yeah.
If you were to be released from jail on a prescription of Suboxone, you had no place to live and no cash, no money, would you sell some of it?
Probably all of it.
Probably all of it to survive.
Yeah.
Have you ever been prescribed Suboxone?
I have.
What was your experience like on Suboxone?
It started out okay, you know, kept me away from the things that it was supposed to, and eventually, you know, turned around and just being another drug for me, you know, and kept me in the loop, kept me around all the wrong people.
So describe that a little bit more. What do you mean kept you in a loop?
As far as people who are still using or still want to be using.
So you weren't around sober people?
Not necessarily, no.
Did you ever manipulate your dose?
Of course.
How did you manipulate your dose? What would you do?
Take more than I should have, you know, or, you know, sometimes less than I should have, you know.
Why would you take less?
Depending on, you know, what I want. I could get traded, things like that, so.
Did you ever get prescribed other medications while on Suboxone?
Absolutely.
What would you be prescribed?
Klonopin, gabapentin,
Okay.
pretty much whatever you ask them for.
Have you ever detoxed from heroin?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Have you ever detoxed from Suboxone?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Which do you think was worse?
Suboxone, 100%.
What did you go through?
Crawling skin, you know, I didn't sleep, you know, no appetite. It was probably one of the worst things that I've ever experienced, to be honest with you.
Well, you were on Suboxone. Did you ever try to break through it with other drugs? Break through
Sure.
heroin, opiates, alcohol,
Yeah, absolutely.
cocaine?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever applied to get into a sober house
Yes, sir.
on Suboxone?
On Suboxone.
What was your experience there?
It's difficult.
Okay. How long did your doctor want you to be on the Suboxone?
The doctor that I saw, when I had asked him what I was going to do when I was to get off of it, he told me that people are on it for the rest of their lives. I thought that was crazy.
What do you think of the idea of introducing Suboxone into this house of correction?
I mean, I honestly don't. I don't know about other people, but for me, this is the best thing that could have happened to me, is to get away from all that stuff.
Do you think if Suboxone was in the jail legally, that inmates might be bullied for it, intimidated?
Absolutely, I can't see it being a good idea at all.
Have you ever been to another jail where Suboxone was there illegally? Have you?
Sure.
So specifically, what are some of the things that you've seen as a result of Suboxone being in jail?
I've seen fights happen. I've seen people, you know, weaker individuals getting things took in canteen, you know, whatever that they, you know, the only thing we really have is canteen, so.
So give it to us in a nutshell. What do you think about Suboxone being in jail?
I think it's a horrible idea to introduce that into a facility. When you're on Suboxone, you really, it's just another drug. It's just, another fantasy land.
Have you ever been prescribed Suboxone?
Yes.
What was your experience like?
I usually would end up either selling them to get high or taking them for a little while when I absolutely needed it and didn't have anything else. Other than that, I wouldn't be able to get my prescription and I'd end up sick or miss my doctor's appointments.
What would happen when you missed your doctor's appointments?
I wouldn't have anything, so I'd be sick and I'd end up resulting to heroin or whatever else I could find.
So you'd have to buy some street drugs?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever visited a cash doctor?
Yes.
And what was your experience like with the quote-unquote cash doctor?
I would drive to Rhode Island and pay $100, and if I brought extra people, he'd give me extra prescriptions. So as many people as I'd bring, I'd get extra prescriptions for myself.
Wow. What would you do with the excess?
End up selling them.
Did you ever take a little bit of Suboxone in the morning, manipulate the dose a little bit, and then use later at night?
Yeah.
What would be the purpose in taking just a little bit of the Suboxone in the morning?
So that I knew it'd be out of my system by the end of the day.
So you could get high?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever called a prescriber early, before you're supposed to, and asked for a prescription?
The cash doctor in Rhode Island.
So the cash doctor would write that?
Yeah.
What about a non-cash doctor? Would they?
No, not usually.
So when you got essentially cut off, what would happen?
I'd end up sick and end up using again.
Have you ever seen Suboxone in another correctional facility?
I have. I've been in 3 other correctional facilities, and not counting this one, and all 3 of them had a readily available drugs, and Suboxone being the main one.
What were some of the negative consequences that you maybe saw?
It's chaos, fights, gambling, people calling home to their families to try to get money so they can give it to another inmate to get Suboxones. They come in, they sell for an 8 milligram Suboxone strip can be cut into 16ths, and those 16ths of a Suboxone go for $20 a piece.
Wow. Have you ever seen Suboxone in this facility?
I haven't.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I would probably say that it's due to the security, as far as like the body scanner at the front door. People are nervous about coming into that body scanner and getting caught with an introductory to drugs, and I'm pretty sure the jail knows, as far as people that have had a history of bringing narcotics into a jail, they can segregate those people until they find out whether or not they have anything or not.
So in your opinion, if the legislature passed a law that mandated the House of Corrections or the DOC provide Suboxone to inmates, what do you think the outcome would be?
I can't see it being positive. And I say this because, and as an inmate, I would like to say, I wouldn't want to see anybody go through withdrawals, because I've been through withdrawals in a jail. But you're not going to die from heroin withdrawals, and at the most, they're going to last a week or 2, and then you're off of it. If you were to have a supply of Suboxone in a jail, no one's ever going to be able to go through those withdrawals. So upon release, they're still going to be hooked on a substance and then go right back to what they were doing before. That being one. The second being, when there's a way to get medication, people will abuse it. One way or another, people will get it. And whether or not they take all necessary precautions to try to prevent that from happening, people are still going to find a way to do it.
If you knew that Suboxone was available to you in the jail and you picked up a sentence, would that sentence be as bad, knowing that you were on Suboxone?
No, because I've never actually, there's nothing really painful about this. As far as most county jails I've been in, you play cards, you work out, you read books. I'm not fighting for my life in here. And so add the ability to use drugs on top of that, it's really not that bad at all. And another thing is, too, was yesterday, while I'm on stick and pick, picking up trash on the side of the road, I find about, 30 Suboxone wrappers, me alone, not counting the other guys on my crew. If I'm finding that many Suboxone wrappers, they're not coming from one person. It doesn't seem like a responsible thing for somebody to do, is use their medication wrappers and throw them out the window of their car. And so if I'm finding that many, that's that many people that aren't using their drugs responsibly and disposing of their use materials.
All right, thank you. I'm currently working with an inmate who has been released from the Barnstable County House of Corrections. and he's on probation. He doesn't wish to be identified. That's why you're seeing the back of his neck. What do you think would happen if the legislature required the sheriff to provide Suboxone to inmates who have been incarcerated?
Well, first, no one would get clean while they're in jail. That's what it took for me to get clean.
And how long have you been clean now?
For over 6 months.
Okay.
Well, I've been actually a year, almost
Right.
a year, because I was locked up for 6 months. And I've been out for like 6 months.
Okay.
So, but being out and being in is two different, places. I couldn't get high when I was in jail, but it was needed for me to get clean, because if I had came out on Suboxone, I still would have been tethered down by something. I still would have needed daily maintenance to not be dope sick and go through withdrawals. And that's one thing I don't like about Suboxone.
What's that?
About you have to take it every day, or else you still go through withdrawals if you don't have it.
Okay. So it took you coming to the jail to get clean and sober, period.
Yeah.
And if Suboxone was introduced into the jail legally, how do you think that would change Barnstable County's environment in the jail system?
It would definitely put a lot of people on edge, like trying to get their hands on it.
Okay.
Like, because you pretty much can't get anything in Barnstable County as it is now. Like, there's like nothing that gets into that place. And people are getting Suboxone. Other people would want it that aren't getting it and would, I don't know how, but they would pressure people to give it to them somehow, and those people would figure it out eventually.
What do you think that pressure would look like?
Like I would say, I know you get Suboxone, and you better bring it to me. I don't care how you do it, you better bring it to me though.
And if I couldn't bring it to you?
You're gonna have to deal with me if you don't bring it. Like, I'm just gonna beat you up or something, take everything you got.
If you left the jail with a prescription of Suboxone, and let's say you're homeless, didn't have any money, do you think you'd sell it to survive?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
No question about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So if a lot of inmates found themselves in this situation, do you think they would find themselves needing to sell their Suboxone for survival?
It'd be free money.
It'd be free money.
Free money. Easy too.
Good. So you've told me that you got out of jail after several months, about 6 months, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you chose to stay clean and sober. What helped you in that process, staying sober?
Vivitrol. I was released with the Vivitrol shot already injected into me. So that helps because I don't want to get high. I don't have urges, but just knowing that even if I wanted to, it won't have any effect on me. It could possibly kill me even, because I could try to get high and feel nothing, and then ultimately want to do more, and then that could lead to a fatal overdose. And I'm not trying to do that to my family and my anything I got going on. And Suboxone, you can do Suboxone and still get high that same day, or you can just decide not to take Suboxone that day and get high. At least with Vivitrol, it lasts in you for like 20-something days, almost 30 days, a whole month.
If Suboxone was in there and you knew you could get your hands on it, do you think maybe even as you were getting sober, you'd try to get your hands on it?
Yeah, when you're still thinking like that, even like a month, 2 months of being sober, and you know that there's a chance that you can get something, even if it's Suboxone, because at that point, you just need a little bit and it would get you wrecked. And
By wrecked, you mean?
Extremely high.
Extremely high.
Yeah. And you would only need a little bit. And that's all someone could possibly get is a little bit, and that would be just enough for you. And it'd do the trick.